Welcome, my name is Bernice Wilson. Thank you for joining me for this video presentation on component ingredients as it relates to the standardized recipe. In this section, we can see that each component has its own component ingredient section. This one's for salmon. Next, we can check out teriyaki sauce, and it too has its own component ingredient section. So for each of these components, you must have a related component ingredient section. Let us begin with the last column first. This lists out all the ingredients related to this component. I want to bring your attention to the way I have written the ingredient. The primary ingredient is first, followed by the specification. Why I do this is so that when I do a product list, all my oils will be lined up together. So oil, comma, vegetable can be oil, comma, olive, can be oil, comma, peanut, and that way it will make it easier for me to look for the products that I need and to make my purchase. The next ingredient shows us another point, which is if there's some basic processing related to the ingredient, it should be stated in the ingredient section. So in this case, we have salmon, which is the primary ingredient, and then we say we want to buy the salmon in fillet form. Once it arrives at our restaurant, we need it skinned, and we need to cut it into 1 cm slices. So these are very short and basic instructions and processes, so they appear in the component ingredients section. However, if the ingredient processing is more technical or it is more complicated, then by all means use the component directions section to write a paragraph to describe the technique or the complicated processing that is required. For example, if you wanted to include cleaning a crab, that is quite complicated, so you wouldn't want to put all your instructions here in the ingredient section. Instead, you will have the cleaning of your crab in a paragraph in the component directions. Okay, next let us proceed on to original quantities. Now, original quantity is related to the baseline number of portions, okay, which is the original number of portions. So for your assignment, you too will need to put in 15 here at the numerator, okay. So here you can see that all the quantities required for 15 portions is listed here. The next column will put in, you will put in all the units, all the standardized units that are required. Of course, the new quantity will share the units, so you don't have to repeat the units. But the new quantity is a calculation. So let us take a look at what the formula is. This new quantity relates to the new number of portions. In this case, it is 30 portions. And the recipe conversion factor is 2. So when we calculate the new quantity, now we are going to use the recipe conversion factor to help us to get the proportional increase. We can see by mental mathematics, we can see that it is 2 times, right? But if we put a formula in Excel, it will calculate it automatically for us. So how do we put in the formula? As with all formulas in Excel, you start with an equal sign, and the formula is original quantity multiply by, which is the asterisk sign, multiply by the recipe conversion factor. So click on that, then hit enter, and you have now inserted a formula to calculate the new quantity. So if I change this back to 15, I'm just going to check, yes, my formula works. So that's another tip I'd like to share with you. Whenever you put in a formula, find a way to check that your formula has gone in correctly. The next thing that I would like to share is how to copy and paste formulae in Excel. Okay, so here's a function tip. So let's say we have this formula put in. It goes up to recipe conversion factor, and we'll change this back to 30. Hit enter, and we can see that our formula is correct because at baseline 15 portions, it's 1,800 grams. Multiplied by 2, it's 3,006. So our formula is correct there too. But what if I wanted to just copy and paste this formula? So I do copy, paste. Now when you copy and paste it, look at the value that you get. It's 0, which is incorrect. So what has happened now? The copy and paste goes down to C22 multiplied by H8. And here's the problem. It also moves down proportionately to H8. So what we need to do to correct that is, in this formula, we put the cursor in between H and 7, press the function key found on your keyboard. Usually it's at the bottom left area. Then simultaneously press F4. And once you do that, you can see that H7 now has 2 dollar signs. This tells Excel that H7 is a constant. So when you copy, it will not move. So let's try the copy function now. This is a constant, so let's just copy. So we copy and paste that to another cell. And let's check. See, when you move down to C22 over here, but it remains constant at H7 because of those dollar signs. So that makes it then easy for you to copy and paste to all the other cells. So hope you found that tip hope you find that tip useful when you start to do your component ingredients for your standardized recipe. So if at any point you want to check the formula I've written it here, C20 multiplied by H7. So those are the cell addresses for the formula, okay? Because when you see this template, there will not be any formula in the cells. You will have to create it yourself, yeah? But you can easily refer to this video and you will get the information. Okay, now I think I have explained everything that is in the component ingredients section. Oh yes, let me also mention that the order of the ingredients that you put in this section must relate to the directions. So in this case, it says heat vegetable oil in a pan. So the first ingredient must be oil. Then the direction says take the salmon and dust it in plain flour. So take the salmon, salmon is number 2, plain flour will be number 3, and so on. Okay? So I think that now concludes all the information related to the component ingredients section. I hope that you now have a better understanding. If not, please do rewind this video and listen to this again, or else you may move on to another video to gain more knowledge on how to complete this standardized recipe template. Thank you so much for your attention and best wishes for your learning. Take care.